Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey. Crypto is at a crossroads. Global regulatory crackdowns, high-profile collapses, and shifting political winds are shaking investor confidence. Now, while some governments are clamping down, others, like Thailand, are easing restrictions, and the Philippines is seeing growing interest in blockchain adoption. Will crypto thrive under a new regulatory era, or is the market heading for deeper turmoil? Today, we'll break it all down with Wei Zhou, CEO of Coins.ph, on the state of crypto in the Philippines, Asia, and beyond. Wei, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome back to Follow the Money.
Thank you for having me.
We've seen a sharp drop in crypto prices in recent weeks, with Bitcoin slipping below key support levels. What do you believe are the main drivers behind this decline? Is it a macroeconomic pressure, or is it geopolitical risk, or maybe something more specific to the crypto space?
Yeah, I think within the crypto space itself, we've actually seen very positive regulatory tailwind vis-a-vis sort of the last couple of years where we faced a lot of regulatory headwind. I think what we've seen is that the U.S. government has started to establish a Bitcoin reserve. We've seen a much more friendly SEC in the U.S. coming into folds. We've also seen a lot of the lawsuits against cryptocurrency companies in the United States being dropped by the new Trump administration. I think with those type of, what I call regulatory tailwinds, we should have actually there was a lot of expectation about outperformance on Bitcoin prices and crypto industry as a whole. But what I think has happened is that crypto prices, as well as I think stocks and other types of assets, have gotten caught in this massive geopolitical wind with regards to tariffs and trade wars. And I think that's why I think for the last month or so, we've seen Bitcoin, come down from its all-time high of about 100,000 to around $80,000. But that being said, as compared to sort of stocks, Bitcoin has actually held up quite strongly the last week.
Are you seeing a repeat of recent declines of cryptocurrency? Would you liken it to perhaps during the pandemic or before that?
I think if you look at the price action, not just within crypto, but I think within the equities market, I think we're definitely seeing drawdowns on the equity market that we haven't seen since COVID in the early 2020, if you remember, February, March, and then April time period. But what I think we face a different types of uncertainty. I think with COVID, I think is a lot that sort of the timeline was actually a lot longer drawn out. Whereas what we feel in terms of the risk and the uncertainties in this market, especially from a geopolitical perspective, is actually perhaps to be a lot shorter. So I think that's one. I think within Bitcoin specifically, I think we remain to be bullish on Bitcoin, not just in the sort of the long term, but actually in the medium term as well. Just because I think Bitcoin, I think people have sort of seen the last couple of days at least that Bitcoin has decoupled from tech stocks and has actually maybe become a safe haven asset during the sort of this period of turmoil.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was during the COVID period. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency had been a safe haven. I don't think we'll be able to say that now, would we? Because right now it's kind of moving parallel to Wall Street.
I think not necessarily. I mean, because I think if you look at Bitcoin the last couple of days, it has actually held up much better against the Magnificent Seven in the stock market. Even sort of its price, whereas we've seen stock market sort of, draw down a lot, 10, 20, even 30%, whereas Bitcoin has actually been held up quite well in this sort of $80,000 range. I think what we've seen, like what I tell people is sort of like Bitcoin in general, just given its sort of 24/7 global asset nature, it's much more acts much more as a canary in the coal mine, as a sort of what I call a leading indicator in terms of risk. Sort of like Bitcoin had its fall in price a lot sooner. sort of like in late February, early Marchish, whereas stocks just sort of had this much more sudden collapse recently. So I think as Bitcoin sort of find its bottom in this sort of $80,000 range, I think unless there's a more exogenous uncertainties that comes in the market with regards to sort of escalation of this trade war between U.S. and China, I actually think a lot of the risk factors may have already been priced into Bitcoin's price. That's why I think I'm actually quite bullish on sort of Bitcoin in the next 3 to 6 months.
All right. Do you have a peg? Is there a particular price that you're looking at in the next 3 to 6 months, as you mentioned, in the short to medium term?
Yeah. So at the beginning of the year, and then the last year, I mean, my target for Bitcoin this year is in the $200,000, $250,000 range. I don't think that has changed at all. Because I think if there's more uncertainty into the market, we actually going to see a couple of things happen, I think. I think what we're seeing right now is that with uncertainty, I think there is going to be a need for different government regimes, like not just U.S. government, but just the European government, Chinese government, even Japanese government to actually, to print. If there's more economic uncertainty, we're actually going to see a need for both, monetary stimulus and fiscal stimulus to come into the market. And both of those, will provide more liquidity into the market. And that's actually going to be provide, I think, the boost I think that's needed for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin at the end of the day, one chart that you don't have that I've seen at least is sort of it's just been tracking sort of this global M2 supply quite well in terms of Bitcoin price with about a 2 to 3 month sort of lag, and I think with all of these uncertainty, government at the end of the day are going to have to provide some type of stimulus package if there's going to be fears of economic recession in the near term. So for me, and so I think with the stimulus, with liquidity, I think that will flow into Bitcoin first, and I think Bitcoin being able to hold pretty tightly in this $80,000 range has been I think has been a very positive sign.
All right. Meanwhile, the U.S. SEC has recently launched a crypto task force to intensify oversight, while President Trump's team is pushing for a regulatory rollback to ease restrictions on crypto businesses. How do you think these conflicting regulatory approaches in the U.S. will impact global crypto markets? What might be the consequences for the Philippines and Asia as a whole?
Yeah, I think what we've seen out of the U.S. Under this new administration is takes a much more positive note, with its crypto and AI czar in David Sachs, as well as the appointment of the new SEC chair, and then also the current what I call sort of Hester Peirce and the Mark Ueda, which are much more pro crypto as a whole. So the SEC crypto task force is actually engaging with the industry now to come out with two sort of with what I call sort of pro crypto regulation rather than sort of anti crypto regulation, and just something of note is that they've actually, as I mentioned before, they've actually dropped pretty much all the active lawsuits against U.S. based crypto companies and some international crypto companies as well. So I think, and then in terms of the approach, I think there's two things happening in the U.S. right now. I think one is there's a stablecoin bill that is in this House and the Senate that is expected to come out in the next 2 to 3 months, and then there's a market structure bill that's the Congress is building in conjunction or in consultation with the SEC about how to build a cryptocurrency marketplace within the United States. I think those two bills will offer guidance, I think, to the rest of the world. In terms of not just how the United States will look at both stable coins and cryptocurrency and the trading and the storage and the investing, but also in terms of providing, I think, guidance for other countries in terms of how they should regulate it and how their financial participants. Because I think what these two bills will do is that it will give the what I call give the green card or give the license to play for U.S.-based institutions into the cryptocurrency space. That would include banks and other financial institutions to not just invest, but actually trade and then also to be able to issue their own stable coins. And so I think that's gonna that's gonna lead the way, I think, for the rest of the world.
Point taken. Of course, talk about issuing their own coins. The Trump family is backing a Bitcoin mining venture with Hut 8, signaling renewed interest from major players in the crypto sector. Does this involvement by the Trump family indicate mainstream confidence in crypto future, or is it just another speculative play? How will this move or shape perceptions of crypto in the coming years? What's your assessment? Is this like a conflict of interest or perhaps a way to move the market themselves?
I mean, I think the Trump family is going to do what the Trump family is going to do. There's nothing sort of industry can do or say, right? Because I think they're the kids of the president, right? They have business practices or businesses that they want to get into, and then I think it just so happens that Don Jr. and Eric, they're super bullish on crypto. They're super bullish on Bitcoin, and they're super bullish on sort of all of the ancillary industries that's related to crypto, including DeFi, including Bitcoin mining. Including I think stable coins as well, right? So I think they are gonna. I mean, as they're going all in as anyone could with regards to sort of the crypto industry. You even seeing sort of Trump issuing his own meme coin 2 days before inauguration. I think I won't assess sort of the sort of the ethical nature of it, because I think that's the U.S. government. They have far more opinionated and people than I am on that subject matter. But with regards to sort of the crypto industry itself, I think it does provide a sort of a leading indicator in terms of hey, there are many ways for you to get involved into the crypto industry, from mining to DeFi to stable coins to meme coins. It's kind of like almost, I call it almost like, here is the index of things that you can do in crypto, and then the Trump's kids are doing them all, right? And I think that's sort of like it's almost today all of their ventures, I think, is quite early. And they would, for them to, for such high profile individuals to be involved in this, I think is a positive note for the industry. So I think, I look forward to them becoming successful, because I think that will be, a very good guidance, I think, for other industry players, and even what I call non-coiners. I think for a lot of the people from the, because if you think about it, this is a family that was involved in real estate development, right? That has moved into crypto. It's like they basically build and manage, hotels and golf courses, and they've pivoted, their business into crypto, and I think that's something that could provide a good a guide. I think for other individuals and businesses in the traditional world.
Talk about Guy. The latest Agence France-Presse report warned that political support for crypto has led to increasing fallout both in markets and regulation. Do you agree that crypto is paying the price for past political endorsements? And how does this impact the future of mainstream adoption? With the growing regulatory scrutiny globally, should the industry manage these shifts to retain investor confidence?
Yeah, I actually think the shift is actually not being. I actually think the shift in the political has actually been much more on the positive side than on the negative side. I think now we basically have, in Europe, we basically have MiCA now, which is basically a market. Basically, it's a market. It's a crypto market participant in regulation in European Union. That's basically about 400 million people. We basically have licenses in crypto now in Hong Kong and in Singapore. We have crypto regulation and maybe even lacks of crypto taxation in Japan. And we basically have both, like as I mentioned before, the stablecoin bill and the market structure bill for crypto in the US. So basically you're seeing major global markets either enacting or have already enacted and, crypto. So we're basically witnessing the legitimization of crypto by basically major global, by major capital markets and the major global sort of countries and regions. So I actually don't see sort of, quote unquote, political affiliation with crypto being a negative impact. I think that That may be the case back in 2022, 2023, post sort of the FTX days, but I think today you're seeing a lot more pro-crypto movements, both politically and culturally as well.
Okay, lots more to discuss about crypto, but we do have to pause for a few reminders. We'll be back with Wei and Coins.ph in a moment. We'll find out, will crypto thrive under new regulations, or is the industry at a breaking point? More on that when we return. Stay on BNC. Follow. Welcome back to Follow the Money. We're still with Wei Zhou, CEO of Coins.ph. Wei, the Philippines has historically taken a cautious but open stance on crypto. With the SEC and BSP, or Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, tightening oversight in the wake of recent global regulatory developments, the local crypto market is facing increasing scrutiny as well. Do you think the Philippines might be moving towards over-regulation, or is this the right balance for ensuring long-term market confidence and consumer protection?
To date, I actually think our regulators here in the Philippines, both the BSP and the SEC, have taken a very balanced approach in terms of both supporting the blockchain technology and sort of balancing the risk on the other end in terms of the token side and the price movements. I actually think that the way that Philippines has sort of treated crypto as a tool that could help our country in terms of nation building efforts, especially in terms of lowering the cost of remittance, in terms of creating new jobs with Web3 and Web3 gaming, in terms of providing increasing financial access through stable coins, and then also through sort of for our businesses to be able to use crypto and stable coins for global to participate in global commerce. I think all of those things have been very positive developments. And I actually encourage what I would tell the regulators, we're in no rush to jump into anything one way or the other. What would be the best for us is sort of to be prudent in terms of looking at what's going on in the U.S. first. Because generally our spending habits, our consumption habits, tracked out of the U.S. Quite well. So sort of take a look at, and the same in terms of the system of governments that we kind of have as well. So take a look at what the bills that come out of the U.S. are, both in terms of stable coins and in terms of market structure, and and we can actually take some guidance from there. That's sort of the first bucket. And the reason why I would lean on the side of caution in terms of being too tight is that we also don't want to regulate this space out of our country. Like for example, for coins, we're the largest we're the largest sort of exchange locally, but we have to compete not just against domestic players, but also international players that are not licensed, but they're also sort of in our space. And if we sort of tighten the string or strangle sort of our local players too much, you basically sort of we lose a lot of the competitive advantage that we've actually built over the years, and then we'll lose those jobs and those tax dollars to the offshore guys. So for me, I actually really like the balance that our regulators have given us. So we both have we have breathing room to innovate and to partner, I think, with a lot of the global token projects that we bring to the Philippines, but we also bring real infrastructure tokens, like both on the play to earn side, on the drive to earn side, and then now we've engaged with a new company that's actually in the AI space, where we can actually create additional sort of earn opportunities for workers, and then or both full-time and casual here in the Philippines as well.
We'll pick up on the workers in a bit, but to your point about competitive advantage, PDAX recently marked its 7th anniversary with milestones in growth and services. Do you see them as a competitor? What might distinguish Coins.ph in that competitive crypto exchange landscape, especially with the rise of new players like PDAX? And Coins.ph, do you have any plans to maintain your edge in the local market, and how?
Yeah, so we have a much longer, Coins was founded in 2013, 2014. We have a much longer sort of presence here in the market. We're the first platform that a lot of the Filipinos, that a lot of our users, bought Bitcoin. We have one user who's been with us for almost, almost 8 years. And then the Bitcoin that she bought on our platform back in 2016 is worth almost 2 million US dollars today. So I think that's a significant amount of wealth generation that we've created for our users. And in terms of, both in terms of products and services, we currently service about close to 30 different blockchains and have about over 100 tokens listed on our platform. And then in terms of our, stablecoin trading volume and our order book volume, we're the biggest here in the country as well. So in terms of what we offer, I think we offer, PDAX probably offers some of the same services as we have, but then we just have them in a much bigger scale. And then, as you know, sort of in the financial markets, the bigger the scale you have, basically the better pricing you have, and the better sort of coverage and services that we can provide. So I think that's something I want to comment on. Another thing that I kind of want to comment on is actually we've been innovating ourselves as well. We have a stable coin that's been out since last year called the PHPC that Web3 gamers who are on the Ronin blockchain can use when they earn Ronin tokens. They can convert that directly to PHPC and then move to Coins.ph to sell and to spend. We actually have a very active merchant network within Coins as well. So if you use Coins, you can actually spend your crypto via QRPH. And then we're building. We have a lending product that's coming out, so you can actually borrow against the crypto balances that you have as well. So I think, for me, I welcome all competition in the market. And then it's good to see, PDAX making progress on their front.
Has uptake of coins in Coins.ph changed in the recent weeks, especially since the start of the year? Has growth slowed down because of how price movements have been? Do you see any changes, perhaps, to your fee structure in the coming weeks, just to be able to help move this kind of growth along?
No, I think the interest in crypto, I think, it's kind of I joke around with people, people would rather buy expensive and rush through the door than buy it cheap. It's like when Bitcoin was at 80,000 or 60,000 last year, I was telling people, hey, you should come in, but nobody did, and everybody came in at 100,000. And now it's at 80,000. I'm like, hey, it's below 100,000 again. It's a good price. But people are like, oh, it's I'll come back in when it's 100,000. So it's just sort of like it's the market's psychology is, that I can't change and can't shift. But what I can say is that we're actually shipping more products than before. Like, just for example, right now we have a launchable product where you can basically just lock in your YGG token or your USD token, and then we'll basically airdrop you this new token that we're listing on, I think, end of this week, called WeGG, which is a play-to-earn token here in Southeast Asia. And I think that's one of these innovations where, you don't have to spend money. You don't have to buy anything. You just basically have to lock up a token, and then to get airdrops. These are some of the things that we've seen in the DeFi world, but we're bringing that, I think, to a licensed centralized exchange. So I think that these are benefits that we're giving to our users in terms of, to educate them. Because I think one of the question that a lot of people ask me is that, hey, I'm interested in crypto. Is there a way for me to get involved in crypto without, what's the cheapest way? Is there a free way, right? And now what I tell people, hey, now we're offering you a free way. If you just have any USDT, then you can basically get airdrop free tokens, and then you're in the game. And I think that's one of the things that we've been trying to, use. One of the tools that we've been trying to use to expand sort of our user base. To answer your question, the interest is absolutely still there. It's a little bit muted versus November, December. I think when price was pumping like 5% every day. But this is the market goes through these kind of sort of like mini bear bull cycles within a major bull cycle, which is what I think we're in right now.
I mean, it's so good that you still see the prices going up to 100K in the next 3 to 6 months. But talk about blockchain, other types of blockchain, as well as different platforms. You have Thailand recently easing crypto regulation and carbon trading, aiming to bolster its blockchain and sustainability initiatives. Should the Philippines consider relaxing its crypto regulations to encourage innovation in areas like carbon trading, or do you believe this approach might be too risky in the current market environment?
I actually think we can do something much more simpler than carbon. I think one thing that I've seen here in the Philippines is that we actually don't have a commodities market. We don't have a market where daily staples get traded. Where we don't have a market where for example, Philippines make the best coffee beans and then make the best cacao beans in the world, and we grow them, right? And but the problem is that we don't have a market that trades these products. What I would love to do is I would love to sort of for Coins to work in conjunction with industry and maybe with our regulators to come out with some type of commodities market, and then we can actually put that on blockchain, and that will help basically our cacao farmers or coffee bean farmers to basically have a standard that they can basically have a futures index that they can grow and sell into. And the same is true, I think, for a lot of the commodity products that we currently have in the country, whether it's metals or oil. We don't have a commodities market, and then for our industry and then for our agriculture to both grow and scale, we need to have some type of a commodities market. And I think that's something that I'm very interested in in terms of putting on blockchain and then developing a transparent market for. And I think that's something that is much needed in terms of doing our part in the nation building efforts here.
I'd definitely like to see that during my lifetime. Meanwhile, you mentioned workers already. Of course, it seems like despite rising awareness, crypto adoption in the Philippines remain very niche. A lot of people are still, uneducated when it comes to understanding digital assets, and yet you have Filipino overseas workers sending over $36 billion annually in remittances, but still have to go through traditional banking instruments with hidden forex fees continuing to eat into these funds. Given the scale of remittance flows, can blockchain and stable coins realistically address these issues at scale, reducing transaction costs and enhance transparency for OFWs? I know some OFWs actually use Coins.ph and other digital asset kind of platforms, but at what growth should they actually engage?
Yeah, I actually want to tell a story here rather than sort of like go into the numbers, just because I think the numbers are the numbers. We already have existing clients within the remittance industry, both companies and individuals that use us for remittance, and from Australia, from the Middle East, from the US, from Europe. And then we have a PHPC product that we've activated with an Australian stablecoin issuer that, anytime they use our product, it's basically like 5x cheaper than the traditional rails. If they can basically buy stable coins in their home country and then send it to Coins and then sell it into PHPC here, that's basically just transaction fees. That's like what, 50 to 100, like 0.5 to 1%, vis-a-vis where they have to pay 3 to 5% on sort of other retail. But the story that I kind of want to tell is that about 3 months ago, we listed a token called Turbo, which is an AI AI snail token, which is an AI meme coin. And then there's a community lead. His Twitter handle, his name is Limsanity. And then I've been interacting with him for a while, and then he's been working as a community lead for this meme coin. And then he basically say, "Oh, hi, Boss Wei. I'll be coming back to Manila next month. If you don't know, I'm an OFW working in Saudi Arabia for the last 10 years, but I've been in crypto for the last 3 years, and then working within the crypto industry as a community lead for Turbo. I've made enough money that now I can retire and go back home."
That much money in 3 years?
Yeah. So, and then he came, so I mean, the story that I kind of want to say is that, and then now once he's back home and he's settled in, he's like, I really like this industry and I kind of work for Coins. And then I invited him, by the second half of the year, once he sort of settled his personal affairs, he's going to join us and be a community leader within Coins to basically educate educate others about sort of, telling his story in terms of how you can get involved in crypto. It doesn't matter where you are in the world.
Very quickly, Wei, what are the entry and exit fees for getting into Coins.ph at the moment?
There are no fees to sign up. Anyone can download Coins.ph from the App Store or go to Coins.ph on the website and just sign up. Once you pass KYC, you can just start trading. There's
for
no
deposits.
We don't have like a minimum. You can deposit as little as like 100 pesos and start trading.
Mm-hmm. And when you exit? When you sell, like trading fees?
Trading, there's no hidden fees on our platform. I think we'll give you a price. If you just buy from the spot market, like it will charge you maybe like 5 to 10 bips, which is like 0.05 to 0.1%.
All right. Wei Zhou, CEO of Coins.ph, always a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for sharing with us your insights today. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, Raine.
Despite challenges, crypto remains a disruptive force, and its future will be shaped by how governments, businesses, and users navigate regulation, adoption, and trust. And before we go, billionaire Brian Armstrong leaves us with this thought. He's the chief executive of Coinbase Global. He had this to say: crypto will survive regulation, but it will not survive a loss of trust. And that is it for today's edition of Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel, always on top.